I'm here tonight with Eustine Choto, who is a Facebook friend of mine. She and her family live in Omaha, Nebraska, which is not too far from where I live. Eustine, am I pronouncing your name right?
You are.
Okay. I
Yeah, I
have
was.
this. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I was just going to say you were the first, one of the few people that can pronounce it correct.
With a name like Shands, I have had that problem most of my life.
Yeah.
I, as you know, this podcast is a fairly new venture for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am not yet selling any kind of sponsorships. So you can go ahead and tell me a little bit about your company that you run with your husband, Corey, and how people can get a hold of you and what products you sell. We'd love to know that.
Okay. Well, we run Laser Anything, and we basically custom make anything. And there's some stuff that we make that we just see, that's trending. And we'll make it and see how well it goes. Um, I used to actually make soap and candles and lotion before I did this, but when COVID hit, the market became so oversaturated. And, it was just so many people that needed something to do, being in the house. So um, that's why we started it. Well, it was actually my idea. Um, there's endless things that we could make. And my husband got on board and he turned out to love it way more than I do. And, we make stuff for local shops here, like earrings, yoga stuff, mostly home decor. Um, and we just started our website. So that's on laseranything.com, www.laseranything.com, but with a Z instead of an S. And that's pretty much what I help with. And we really like it. So trying to expand it and get it out there. We're building it from ground up. So it's been challenging, but we've learned a lot.
Well, you have beautiful wall hangings and you have Halloween items and Christmas
Mm-hmm.
items.
Yep.
They are beautiful. I must admit I have shared your website on my Facebook page many times.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Well, you have come to my attention as someone who seems to have a fairly conservative bent with your postings on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but I have been cultivating relationships with people across racial lines, but who are conservatives for a number of years. And
Mm-hmm.
I was drawn to your posts. Tell me a little bit about your journey and how you became to be someone of a conservative mindset.
This is sunglasses. This is sunglasses. Sorry, that was my 2-year-old. So
You have a beautiful family. You don't need to apologize for that.
thank you. So as you know, I am from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So growing up in Zimbabwe, it was very how do I say that? It was very interesting. I can't say that it was so horrible, um, but there was no freedom at all. And um, we just didn't, have a voice. We couldn't speak up and say anything. We had to, you know, it's a culture where even when something is wrong, you don't speak about it.
Mm,
You just live.
right.
Um, and for me, that was my normal. I grew up like this. Like we had to bring food to people on our knees. And you know, we're taught, when they raise you, you're raised up for like marriage, and you know, everything is about being submissive and um not having a say, not having a voice. And then when I was 10, I came here. My grandmother, who took care of me, she passed away 4 years after I got here. I was 14 when she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I really didn't get into politics or anything. I really didn't watch the news. I didn't want anything to do with it. I just cared about me and my life, you know. And my dad is a Democrat, and that's all he watched was CNN, you know. And I thought it was like just a bunch of drama.
Eustine, my dad was a Democrat too.
Really? Yeah. So I just thought it was a whole bunch of drama, you know. And when Obama got into office, I started paying a little bit of attention. That was a happy day for me, um, because I thought, this is a person of color. This has never happened, and this might do us some good. Years went by and nothing changed. Things were still the same. I was very liberal when I met my husband, and that was in 2017. Very, very liberal. I didn't think that any humans were illegal. I, you know, played the victim card and everything. And my husband really liked Trump, and you know, he had stopped voting Republican after he voted for Obama twice. You know, he was like, just listen to this guy. I was like, I don't want anything to do with that guy. He's ignorant. He's this, he's that, you know. I didn't like him. And I said, you know, I'm just gonna listen. So I listened one day because I'm one of those people that um I'm going to give it a chance. So I started listening to him, and I was like, you know what? I don't care for who he is personally, but I care about what he's doing for this country, you know? And then I just started listening and listening and listening. And this is when I, I told people, I was like, I like this guy. And I started losing friends. Um, you know, I was blackballed. That's what happened to my candle business too,
Mm.
by BLM, you know, that's how I went viral, you know. um, People were calling my kids names, saying that I liked the slave masters, and oh, it was just terrible. And that's when I started to see how the left is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is a very hateful bunch, you know. And I remembered me being there where I was just angry. I didn't know what I was angry about. I was just angry all the time, you know, and it was always somebody's fault, you know. And that's just not where I wanted to be mentally anymore. And then I started meeting other conservatives, you know, and then these people were loving, they were kind. They welcomed me into this community, and you know, I didn't have to be in the closet anymore about how I really felt. You know, I started being open about how I felt. And then I look back at places like my country. The police don't even have to knock. You know, they were going into houses, stealing people's groceries, beating women, raping women. There's nobody you could report it to. There's no type of laws that protect you. There's nothing but corruption, and politics is what runs that country. And the politicians, not the people. They don't have weapons, they don't have anything to defend themselves. The police were shooting people in the heads, you know. They were killing white people
Mm-hmm.
because they wanted them to leave in 3 months. And I looked at that and I said, this doesn't make any sense. If we give up freedom, then I might as well just go live in my country where there's absolutely nothing there. I can't do anything. I can't think for myself. I can't have a voice. I cannot have a say. And I didn't want to live in a country like that. And I don't want that for my children. And I wouldn't even, going to Zimbabwe is not even an option because I have nobody to go there to because I was raised by my grandmother. She's gone. Her husband is gone. Everybody that raised me is dead. So where would I don't know that country anymore. I left there almost 23 years ago and I was a
Right.
child. I just didn't want this country to become like there because, like I said, where would I go? There is not an option. This is my home. I had to, really start thinking about that stuff. Like, what type of place do I want my children growing up in? Do I want the same place, like Zimbabwe here? No, it just broke my heart to even think about it.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that background. You have an amazing journey. One of the things I always ask people is conservatives have been painted as being racist. This is one of the reasons I started my not-for-profit was to educate people. You did
Hmm.
say that you found the community to be loving, but would you say that your experience with conservatives, being a woman of color in America, your experiences with conservatives indicates that conservatism does not equate to racism?
No, it doesn't. There's some conservatives that are racist, I'm sure. Um, I never want to generalize everyone. The people that have came to me have been loving and kind, but I don't know what other conservatives are out there. But the majority of the people that I converse with now have been very, very loving towards me, and they've been very kind and very accepting. And a lot of them, I look at them like family now. When I say that the color stuff is used too much, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. What
Right.
I'm saying is, it's not like you go outside every day. And when I walk outside of this door, hit with racism, honestly, I have not experienced it much.
I did tell you last week that we would address the fact that one day recently you expressed a little bit of uh, frustration with some conservatives who were making
Yes.
comments about your family. I think you have experienced comments about your family from both sides of the political
Mm-hmm.
aisle. I'm glad to hear you say that you're not frustrated with conservatives, but I want to give you the floor here to really be honest and express your feelings and what that frustration was that you were expressing last week.
Okay, so last week, I do not recall sending this woman a friend request, but she took it upon herself. She did not send me a message or ask me anything. She took it upon herself to steal my photos of my children and my family and me and put it on her page. And she said that I was a man and my husband was a woman. And she was telling people, oh, these people live amongst us, they're evil and the devil this and stuff like that. Um, by the time I saw the post, it had been up for 6 hours. This guy who I follow, he tagged me and he told that lady, please remove this post. This woman, she is a woman and this needs to be taken down. But she said, based on my bone structure, that's why she had those assumptions. Well,
Goodness.
yeah. And I've never ever heard that in my life. So I was very frustrated, and I was angry because first of all, that's defamation of character, and you're lying, and slander, and she's lying. And I just felt belittled. And I started looking on her page, and you could see, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. She said all those were men. Princess Diana was a man. She said Trump was a woman. And I was like, this is the type of stuff that I don't like. If you say the people on the left, they assume, they lie, they use slander, and then you turn around and you do the same thing, you're a hypocrite. So that's what frustrates me, is the lying and the extremism. Not everything has to be so extreme. And it's like that on both sides now. Everyone has become so divided and so extreme that I had to pull myself out a little bit and start talking about different topics because it's depressing to be there at that place where everything is so extreme, you lose touch with reality almost. And yeah, so that's my frustrations about being a conservative. But other than that, I've not really experienced too much that I dislike, except, oh, another thing. There's a lot of people who use this to gain fame, money, and whatever it is that they're wanting to get out of it. And they're not really truly conservatives, they don't even do anything or draw attention to the topics that need to be talked about. I don't know. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions. I know myself, I have conservative views,
Yes, you
but
do. I'm
and yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's kind of how we're raised in Zimbabwe too. People are kind of just conservative. You don't see women behaving the way people, not even just women, men, kids, everyone behaves with class. And here it's a bit different.
Lately, it does seem to be. I'm glad to hear you make an emphasis about the issues because my goal in starting Conservatives versus Racism Incorporated and doing these podcasts is to attempt to dispel the myth that conservatives are racist, because if we can do that, then we can set the stage for a true debate about issues and topics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to hear you mention that.
Yeah.
Now, for the record, you said you were accused because of bone structure, et cetera, of being a man. You do
Yeah.
have five beautiful children, don't
Yes, five beautiful children that I went through a lot of pain delivering. Yeah, and it's crazy because I've documented all my pregnancy journeys on Facebook. So everyone was like, why are you feeding into this? And I have people I went to school with on there and people I actually was friends with. And um that's just something that comes from my childhood that I'm working on.
you? Right.
Um, having to be heard. Like listen to what I'm telling you, because I would never pretend to be something that I'm not because I expect the same from other people. I expect people to be exactly who they are.
Right.
That way, people have a choice. Do I want to deal with these people or do I not? So, yeah, that's the only thing that really upset me. But now that I'm thinking of it, I laughed. I was like, that's so silly.
You are in an interracial marriage.
Yes.
One of the things that President Biden, keeps mentioning, and this goes back to the recent Supreme Court decision on abortion, they're trying to link interracial marriage to restrictions on abortion and trying to scare people into believing that if the MAGA Republicans get reelected, the interracial marriage, the I don't know if you're familiar with the case that went to the Supreme Court. It was called the Loving decision.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
That that would be a right that would be taken away. What is your feeling about that? Have you run across very many conservatives who have a problem with your marriage?
No, many people love my family, as you can tell. If I post a picture of my biracial children, that gets more attention than anything I could ever post. Even my Black children, everybody loves our family being together. I'm not understanding how or where people are getting that idea. Killing a human and another human marrying another human are two different things. They're comparing apples to oranges. I've never met anyone who has an issue with it. There's groups dedicated to interracial marriages and children.
What is your stand on what is now called reproductive rights, the abortion issue?
Wow.
If you're
For
not comfortable
me,
answering that, you don't have to.
no, no, I'll answer. I'm just trying to say it in a, okay, I'll just say it. So for me, abortions are not birth control, especially if you are knowingly, engaging in intercourse with people without protection or birth control methods in place. And then you run to abortion as a way out. That's not right. But the people that have been raped, I can see where they would want to have an abortion because mentally I can see how damaging that would be and
Right.
everything. And kudos to the moms who have kept those kids. But in those situations, I really do not judge because rape is terrible. And to have to carry something that reminds you of something so traumatizing is kind of unfair. But overall, no, I do not support abortion. You're killing another human. And yeah, it's just not okay.
Eustine, I very much appreciate you. We have become friends on Facebook, and I appreciate your positions. I appreciate your time tonight. I know this is time that you're taking away from your family. I'd like to give you just a last opportunity to give any closing statement or wrapping up this interview. Anything you would like to say in closing?
I would like to see you prosper with this podcast. I think it's going to be a great thing. I think what you're doing is really great, talking to real people. And I think that's what we're lacking in this country right now is people don't know what's real and fake anymore. Instead of listening to the news, people can hear it directly from the sources, and hopefully that will spark something in everyone's minds who listens to this and changes their views about everything that's going on and people that they judge.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And thank you again for your time. I wish you the very best We're coming into a time of year where family is important. You have a beautiful family, and I wish you the best with your new business.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.